So here's the autumn poem, written by Carol Crandall, one of my students from a long time ago. So take this in as you're finding your meditation and your inhale and exhale. Days shorten, giving fewer hours of sun. Night draws her curtains of darkness much earlier. Scarlet leaves lose their grip, allowing swirling wind to tumble them earthward. As the first cold rain gusts from the southwest, bring a hint of new green to summer dry lawn. 'Tis time to withdraw, to recollect, to sum up the months that have flown past. It's been a year of introspection, old photos and memories, news of deaths, chaos in the stock market and politics, an aspect of the early 80s or the 90s all over again. Inflation skyrockets, the world around me convulses with change. Somehow I remain an island of calm in the quiet of the storm. The spirit within me guides me, leaving unafraid of tomorrow, leaving me unafraid of tomorrow. And all we have is now. As I was guided across snow-covered mountains, all obstacles fell away. I must hold close the sense of knowing, the sense that comes from deep inside, the sense that God knows even if I don't. It is enough to just be, to let Great Spirit work the plan. My heart is open. My place is the scheme of the universe. My place in the scheme of the universe is known. So as we continue coming into this time of more darkness, where it gets, we have less daylight. It is a time when we often, in many traditions that have this in their culture, we turn inward. We do a little retrospect. And I know for me, this piece that she wrote really resonates. I've been going through, in fact, I've been scanning my family history and the history of my small school. And it was a lot of photographs and a lot of writing and a lot of thinking about the past. And there has been, unusual passings in people I know, and also people that have told me about their people that they know. And then all of the passings, and I want to hold in our hearts all those on this planet that are suffering from war or oppression or whatever, or hunger, or whatever is not what we would like for humanity. And then have incredible gratitude for our own lives and what we do have. So breathing gratitude through your heart, and as you do, raising up out of the crown of your head and seeing if you can feel that extended spine. Now, if you're lying on the floor, you'll feel it on the floor. Sit on an edge of a chair to feel that. If you're seated on the floor, then you have to sort of lift yourself up. I worked it a little bit more. I was doing a little bit of a rounded spine, and now I'm lifting up out of the crown of my head. Breathing gratitude through my heart, expanding my heart chakra and imagining the universal expansion of our hearts as we receive the fifth vibrational understanding of humanity at this point. And as we understand that we're moving from 7 swirling vortex-oriented chakras to 12 crystalline suns that we've been working with, the 12 chakras. And this time of great divide in our country, and this time that we've been going through with expanding through the purple color, through the heart, but then through the crown of the head, has come to a time when right now this new understanding of the crystalline chakras is right in front of the world spiritual community. So breathe through these 12 chakras as though you already know them, and think of them as suns. Think of your body as one, as light, and then think of the suns, all of them as suns, as you connect your heart chakra to the sun. You know, our life depends on this sun. We're on a planet in a galaxy of planets, and all of the different things the planets do affect our planet. And we are just part of that planet. So therefore, everything that is our sun, our moons, the moons of other planets, the placement of other planets, all affect us, humanity, individually and collectively. So the 12 chakras, I'm going to, kind of go through them again very briefly, and what the aspects, what the quality of those chakras are. The first one is the sapphire blue, and it's below us. You can think of it as below the earth. And it's about divine will, empowerment, and protection. And you can sort of relate to that with the earth chakra. When you think of the old way of looking at the chakra of the earth, the red color, earth is grounding, power, protection into the earth. Then we move up to a sunshiny yellow. So whatever yellow you want to choose to think of, divine wisdom, illumination, enlightenment. So think of that as, where we would usually say the second chakra or the first and second coming together, they're different now. And we're still identifying how they fit within the physical structure. And then the crystalline pink. And I always think of, maybe rose quartz for that. And divine love, adoration, tolerance, and reverence for life. The oneness. So bringing that yellow and the pink together, sometimes people look at that as peach colored. And we've also used that peach color, which is also at the 11th chakra, the 11th solar chakra, but we also see it at the center of the earth, and we bring it up through the body. So the pink and the yellow together, the third, crystalline pink. The fourth is crystalline white, ascension, purity, hope. And together, it's the feminine heart, that first section of this work with these new ideas. The fifth is an emerald green. So think of an emerald. And it's illuminated truth and healing and vision. And see in your mind's eye if you can create the vision of the new human and the new earth. Just see if you have a totally healed new earth and new human, and the new human being that one which is equal. There's all equanimity or equality throughout humanity. No one goes hungry. No one's without shelter. No one is without peace in the new human and the new earth. All countries, you can see that as all countries coming together in oneness. They're not being these energies that are almost like showing us the darkness and the light in front of us, the good and the evil. And then into the ruby red, and think of a ruby, divine grace and devotion in the 6th chakra. The 7th chakra, still violet colored, transmutation, freedom, liberty, victory, forgiveness, magic, transmutation. So still that seventh chakra is so incredibly opening to above us and to the energy field around us and the layers. And there's always been a known of the aura, the layers of the aura. So now you can also relate this to these 12 chakras. Then aquamarine, and you can think of aquamarine. I love that that rock and that color. Divine perception and clarity. And I'm really attracted to that color. You know, a lot of my clothing and a lot of my studio is all in the colors of blues and aquamarine, divine perception and clarity. And that's the 8th chakra above our head. And that's the soul star chakra. And then 9 is magenta, harmony, balance, and confidence. And you can think of that, you know, 9, the 9th, as the earth star. And the earth star with that magenta color. The 10th is gold. And we all know the shininess and the weight of gold and the whole feeling of that color gold. Divine abundance, eternal peace, prosperity. And with this, it's the 10th. And the 10th is the universal chakra. You know, being across the point of the infinite and flow of creation, and providing a path for you to connect to the divine, however it comes out for you. A major step in your awakening, perhaps. Then as we go to the 11th chakra, it's peach. Divine purpose, joy, happiness, selfless service. And you can, you know, think of this as that peach color, and they call it the galactic chakra because it also connects us to our galaxy. Then the 12th is the opal, an unbelievable combination of blues and pinks and yellows, and translucent and mysterious. And this is transfiguration and transformation. The divine gateway. So these are also considered the 12 aspects of deity and the circle of the sacred 12. And they're 12 solar strands of DNA and these 12 solar chakras. So all of this is happening right now in the expansion and transformation of the universal spiritual community. And you know, I've told you that I've been sort of touching into various parts of that community. And it's growing and growing. So expand your heart to connect with all those who are working on the same material as I'm bringing forth right now. You can see an amazing, beautiful production of sounds and visuals about this on the eraofpeace.com, which I've introduced you to over and over again. So then bring your hands together at your heart. And let this hands together at your heart, namaste, honor that you are part of this expansion, that you are awakening, that you are connecting, whether you know it, you know, viscerally, or you know it in your consciousness, that you are connecting with a higher good, a higher energy, a great mystery, you know, whatever that is for you, that used to be just this one word that was used, the God, and I've wrestled with that word. I encourage you to wrestle with that word and what it really means in all the various spiritual traditions on the planet. And so just take that in and connect your heart with that. It's something that is connecting you with all of humanity. And honor that you've taken the time out to do this practice, and that this practice is body, mind, and spirit. It's always a holistic practice. And perhaps it will guide you in one way or another towards what's something that you may not even know you're guided to. So breathe peace into your heart, gratitude into your heart. See the vision of the new earth and the new human as you embrace these 12 chakras, 12 aspects of deity. The circle of sacred 12. The 12 solar strands, or they call it the lost strands of DNA that they are dormant. They became dormant because the ego grew so far and so wide during what's called the fall from grace of humanity. And so the ego blocked these 12 strands of DNA. These are the strands of truth. So they're bringing the thumbs to the third eye, and know that to help you to do this, you have sensory perceptions of, the 4 eyes: inspiration, imagination, intuition, and integration. And within each of those sensory perceptions are a myriad of sensory perceptions that you can tap into. Then take a deep breath in and release all of this with a sigh or an ah sound. Ah. And if you're seated like I am, talk about the SI joint, it gets a little stiff. And you can do this on the floor or on a chair, and just drop the knees side to side. It's kind of like the most gentle release of the SI joint. The sacroiliac joint, the joint between the sacrum and the rest of the spine, the joint that connects the sacrum into the pelvis and into actually then, the upper part of the trochanter that goes into the pelvis. It's all related. It's all connected. Then come down to the floor and bring the knees into your chest and roll the knees in a circle. And this is then to, massage that area. And some people can let go of holding the knees, and you can put the arms out by your side. Use your abdominal strength, and you can go a little bit deeper in that massage. With the hands on the knees, you can press a little bit more, and you get a little pressure. It's like a little massage, change directions. And I am starting to work with and understand that the sacroiliac joint and the sacrum itself, which holds the kundalini snake of transformation, is all about this time. This time, it's about transformation for hundreds of thousands of years, really, in the practice of yoga, on the different kinds of yoga, particularly kundalini yoga. And then I always bring forth, pull the knees in, open the knees wide, but with that sacrum and that kundalini, waking it up, roll the ankles, point and flex the feet, wiggle the toes, lift the head if you want, lift the arms out if you want. Use the abdominals, squeeze at the pelvic floor, because we have to strengthen that whole area to help that sacroiliac joint. We're using our lower back too much, and we need to use the core, and the base of the core is at the pelvic floor, where we actually do our kegels. So then bring the head down, bring the feet flat onto the floor, and drop the knees side to side. This is the most gentle way to work with these joints, is to feel them, be with them, honor them. And then you want to loosen them, and remember that you're kind of waking up the part of your spine that is the base of the 12 chakras. And the spine itself is, what runs the whole body. You can live without arms and legs, but you can't live without the spine. And there are people that live without arms and legs. And they're very inspirational if they've overcome their their lack of those parts of a human body, and knowing that you still have your humanity. And then bring the knees to one side, bring them to the right, and feet apart. And with this, remember, you can take a block. There's a lot of ways to use this with a block, a block between your knees, or a block between your knees, or a block behind your, like it holds up the left hip a little bit, and then you're going a little further over. Now, with that, bringing your knees on top of each other is a little easier. So you want to decide. Feet apart and just resting, head turns opposite so that you're doing a spinal twist. Take a deep breath in here and just let yourself be relaxed in this twist. Now you can do it on a chair. You can do it on the seated on the floor. And you can, of course, be in a bed. So this is just our first spinal twist. We'll do quite a few of them today to work that sacroiliac joint. And some of you, if you have the ability, you may cross the top leg over the bottom leg, so the right leg over the left. And if you need support from that, you can use the block underneath that right hip. But if you don't, then you can let gravity pull you down to that right side, and you'll just see, you're trying to evaluate what's best for your own body. So it's always a trick to every day come to your body and say, what do I need today? And then bring yourself up, switch sides again. I'm going to show you on this side with the block. I'm going to show you how to take that block if you want and put it behind your back. And turn the head opposite. And sometimes this feels like a great twist. You just want to make sure you wiggle your shoulders flat onto the floor again. And the other block, if you want, can go between your knees. And it is a restorative way to do this posture because you have support. And again, you can put the knees on top of each other, and you can put the bottom knee on top of that. So the left ankle on top of the right knee, or cross the legs, and this will give you another different kind of support. If you use the blocks, or not using the blocks, then you're using gravity, and you're allowing the body to do that. So again, each side is different, and you want to see what's going on there. Now, with this time of expansion, those of us that are doing this work regularly, and we're also engaged in the major changes in the culture, somewhere in the culture we're engaged, like I'm engaged in educational reform, and some of you are engaged in politics in your area, local politics, and some of you are engaged in changing an organization, or you're engaged in something else. It's a time of change, just like in the 70s, just like in the 80s, just like in the 90s. It's always changing, and it's always moving towards a higher level of consciousness. And it is happening. Then bring yourself to center, take that block and put it underneath the sacrum. So this is the way to restore your sacrum, these gentle movements on the floor, not putting the weight of the body on your feet. And then dropping the knees side to side a little bit, and identify those sacroiliac joints. You can massage them more deeply. On this block, they almost fit perfectly. The edges of the block almost fit perfectly at my sacroiliac joint. Now, if you don't have a block, just use a cushion. And if you have a firm cushion, it's going to be the best for you. And then you can also just lift the pelvis up and find a different way of working with that part of the lower spine and the lower back. Then place the feet flat on the floor. And if you notice what happens here, if you take your two hands and you put them at the lower back, you'll see that it's really squishy. And what you're doing is relaxing this major muscle called the quadratus lumborum that holds and helps to hold the lower back in place. but it also will compensate whenever there's something else wrong from the lumbar spine down. It will actually compensate for different things. It even compensates for my knee injury. So you're relaxing that, and remember that osteopathic lesson of put it into a relaxed position and hold it there. Now, those of you who want a stronger practice today, don't use a block. But my body could use a little gentler practice. So from here, you're going to experiment with lengthening out the legs and seeing what happens now, and does it feel good? It's like having a supported back bend, but just a little bit. And so you're experimenting. You're saying, oh, does this feel good? If it doesn't feel good with both legs, does it feel good with one leg? Does it feel good with the other leg? So you're in a gentle back bend. And you can just hold there for a little breath or two or three, or come back to supported bridge. And you can just feel that massage of that sacrum. Then you can also bring your legs up. Now, one of the things we don't pay attention to is how that lower back, including that sacroiliac joint, is connected to the rest of the leg. So point and flex the feet if you're here with me. And you can always go back to the other practices that we've done with the strengthening of the glutes instead of the working with relaxation of the sacroiliac joint. But here, if you look at where that, how that joint works, and that's one of the keys, is knowing how it works and knowing why it gets tight. And then notice that that part of it is lengthening out the legs and feeling the tightness behind the knee, maybe down all the way down the legs, maybe even into the feet. Point and see what happens to the shins. Flex, see what happens. And just feel. And again, legs up the wall is another way to do this if you're, sometime during the day, because it actually helps to flatten out and lengthen out the back of the legs a little bit more to put the legs up the wall. So we'll do some leg stretching today. Then bring the knees in and notice that you can do, this kind of thing where you catch the ankles or the shins. You can come up with the pelvis tilted like this. You have a lot more flexibility because part of the tightness is in that sacroiliac joint, and we're lifting the pelvis, tilting it so that we can maybe reach our toes and bend the knees. So you're sort of looking at that again. You don't have to have a block or a cushion, and you can do all of these without that, and you can do them in a more vigorous way. This would be the most gentle, using a lot of wisdom from restorative yoga. Then bring the feet back down and come off of the block and bring yourself down. Feel the release by dropping the knees side to side again. And then lengthening out the legs and stretching the body from the heels of the hands to the heels of the feet as you hold your breath. Hold the breath and stretch both sides. Just really, really feel all the stretches you're doing here. And if the shoulders don't like this, then put the hands out by your sides. See what you can do with your shoulders. And then relax. Keep the arms above the head for a moment to relax the shoulders. Then press into the lower back and release, and press into the lower back and release. And notice when you press into the lower back, squeeze at the pelvic floor and hold for a moment. Then you're going to do a very gentle strengthening of your core. Then decide whether you want to press into the lower back and just do that, or just press into the lower back, then lift the shoulders off the floor. So some of the key to what happens in the lower body is what happens in the core of the body, back core and the front core. So exhale as you come up. Your feet can be off the floor. Your legs can be straight if you want. Exhale as you come up. Then hold the posture and always do this at your pace. You can always exhale and inhale. You can go so much slower. You don't have to go as fast as I go. And then hold, breathe, and then pull the knees in. And here, roll the knees in a circle again and roll into the other direction. Then rock yourself up. And I don't know who's on a chair or not. There's only 3 of you on the screen. So I'm going to consider that you're probably all on the floor. And I wanted to work with this one where we roll back, hold on to the knees or above under the knees and roll forward and roll back, curve the spine and forward. And this time curve the spine, then straighten the spine and hold. So you're just holding with a flat back and forward and hold. And notice right here that you might feel the upper quad. You know, you're strengthening more than you know, core strength and forward. And one more time in a flat back. And then roll yourself down. Pull the knees in. And then a little bit of the Pilates 100, where we lift our head, and you can have your head on a cushion if you need to. And your feet can be dangling. Your feet can be down on the floor, up. They can be in table position, and they can be straight. So I like this position. My arms pump, and then it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. Now, if your neck takes something on, then put one hand behind your head. And then hold. Don't hold your breath. Take a breath. And then pull the knees in. Place the feet flat on the floor and cerebral spinal fluid balancer. Now this will get that cerebral spinal fluid balanced by this rocking. And when we don't continue to use our spine all the way, or we fall, or we get knocked over somehow, or we take the wrong step, or we have some emotional assault into our consciousness or some trauma, whatever it is, the cerebral spinal fluid takes it on. It's like, it like holds the whole story. And so this just pressing off from the feet, it's not very much of a movement. You're not pushing. Take a deep breath in and out. And then bring the knees in and bring yourself up or roll over to your side. Come onto your hands and knees, just so we get some experience here. Ooh. So get that spine moving. And then stretch the backs of your legs through downward dog. You could put your hands on a chair, a table, or a wall, or you can have them on the floor, and give each side a little bit of time to stretch. Lengthen it out. See, get that heel down if you can. If you can't, go up a little higher to blocks or to a chair, the base of a chair. And work with the backs of your legs for a moment. Work with the backs of the legs, because that is as important as everything else. Now, the other part of the leg that's really important for the sacroiliac joint and any kind of lower back kind of strain is the quad. So we'll be walking ourselves up, hang over. Now, if you want to do a little bit deeper stretch, then, on a block or on a chair or something, you just straighten the legs. This would be standing forward bend. I need a block, and you're working with that lower back, or just see how tight are my legs? How much do I have to bring myself up to have that experience of feeling the backs of my legs? And know that this is something you have to do daily to keep the hamstrings lengthened out, keeping the whole leg kind of active and healthy in this way rather than in walking. So when you walk, might feel good, but stop every once in a while and do some stretches. Bend the knees and bring yourself up and feel the wisdom in your body take you up into that little back bend, and hands at the heart and shake it out. Whew. Then just getting that whole energy moving, letting the body shake. And doing the ha breath today. So the ha breath also a little bit good for that sacroiliac joint. You're welcome to do the breath of joy if you want, but the ha breath is just up and then ha. And then with the ha and a little growl in the voice, ha, 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 ha. And last time, ha, ha, ah. Then to stretch the quad, it's the dancer as a one-footed balancing posture. But if you need to do it on the floor or on a bed, you can do that too. You can also do this. This is a gentle way to do it. You put the knee on a chair and the hand on a wall. And sometimes I just want to stretch that quad. So I put my hand on the wall, and then I'm just going forward and back and just finding where is that stretch. Sometimes I take both of my hands, I put my head on the wall, and I'm going, oh yeah, I'm feeling that stretch. Oh, and I can feel how tight it is and how much I need to do this every day. Then changing sides. Again, I'm just going to focus on the stretch, not on the balance today. My head is on the wall. You can put your knee on the floor, on the chair. You can also make it a balancing posture. I'm opening my shoulders and working with the quad. And then I'm going to change sides. I'm going to do it again because it's so tight. You can see if one side is tighter than the other. It's interesting to look at the two sides of the body, because usually they're not doing the same thing. It's not like we are equally symmetrical in how our body works. And then I'm going to change sides onto the other side. I'm using, my head to balance me on the wall so I can really get that stretch. And then release. So then shake it out again. Bring your arms up. And you could do this seated on a chair. Again, spinal twist. So the arms come up and you're following, your feet and knees are straight ahead, and you bring those arms around, look over. The back hand goes to the back, and the mine is the right hand's in the back and the left hand's in front. And it kind of looks like this. So it also forces you to understand that shoulder right there. And you have the spinal twist. Now on a chair, lots of ways to do it. You sit on the side of the chair, put your hands on the chair, the back of the chair, and look over. And you can also just sit there on the side of the chair and use your hands however you will to pull you around. And on the wall, you put the hip on the wall and then take your hands and turn the head and put your hands. I'll show you the other hip so you can see my face. But you put the hip on the wall and you use your hands to bring you around. So whichever one feels best to you, then choose one of these standing spinal twists or seated on the chair. And breathe. And then to the other side. And breathe. Now, what happens down lower is you're moving that energy with the twisting the spine. We're working on energetically opening from the sacrum all the way to the center of the skull, where between your ears, you're on the first cervical vertebra. Reach up out of the crown of the head, pull in at the abdominals, use the pelvic floor, and then come back around. Coming back down, drop the chin to the chest and roll down the spine. And I'm going to bring in a couple cushions. Cushions or blocks, and step back again. Again, give yourself a moment to stretch the backs of the legs. Then down to the knees and back into child, because then you want to stretch the lower back. You're going to work with all the rest of that. The sacrum, which, remember, the tailbone is the bottom of that sacrum. You've got the fused bones down there that also connect us to the understanding of a tailbone. And then you can stay here if this feels good to you. And of course, you can put a cushion on top of your feet. My body wants to do a little more vigorous back bend right now. So I'm coming up. And feel that back bend of upward dog and back. And you inhale up, exhale when you get there. And just honoring the spine so much, to honor that it is the spinal fluid, is that whole story is stored. Your body tells your story, the whole story from when you were born, from when you were probably conceived, and it probably tells also the story of some part of your lineage. Your body will tell you the whole story if you learn how to listen and learn how to ask it questions. And then to hands and knees, and still working on a little bit of stretching here, just for a little bit, is to bring that right knee forward and get the right, this is, again, you can come to put the right ankle over the left knee on a chair, or you can, or do thread the needle on your back, where you bring one ankle over the knee. This is pigeon. We did it on the other day, and you can use a block for your head or not. You can come further down, depending on your flexibility. And the other thing that tightens in the pelvis in relationship with all of this is often that piriformis muscle, which is connected to the sciatic nerve, which comes from the front of the spine down into that area. It's goes out down all the way to the foot. So, so sometimes you can have a nerve energy that's a little bit off, and those muscles get tight in they're located underneath the gluteus maximus. And depending on, if you want a more vigorous practice, or you just want to just work with the stretches, you can be here. You can stretch the front surface of your body by coming up into a back bend. And if you feel like it's better to put yourself in motion, then you put yourself in motion with you're exploring, how does this work? Then decide when you want to change sides. I'm coming to hands and knees and bringing my left knee through. I'm bringing a cushion under my left side to be able to hold me up a little bit, just give me a little more support. And I'm coming down onto my forehead And it's really all you really choosing, learning the postures, and then, choosing how to use them for your highest good. And again, you can put them in motion or stretch the front surface of your body. Don't forget to breathe. Then take the next moment, decide if this feels okay for you. What happens for me is I'm in this position and it works perfectly just to take that other leg, that right leg, swing it around, and it brings me around and down on my back. And today I'm going to have us open our shoulders. If you want, go into reclined goddess. It's not like we haven't done this a lot, but decide how you want to end your practice. So ending my practice with this opening and saying, open. Looking at this also, if you can roll up a blanket or you can use a bolster or a cushion, and you're seated on the floor, your pelvis and your sacrum are tilted, and that actually relaxes part of the lower back, and it should help to relax the sacrum. Now, this position also for the sacroiliac joint, opening your knees like this and letting them sit here with support, you'll be relaxing that connection of the sacroiliac joint. You can take your hands and you can feel how the muscles are all soft there because you're relaxing that connection. For many people, this is the most important position to do a couple times a day, at least morning and evening, if the sacroiliac joint, if you have trouble with it, because it's putting it totally in a relaxed position. Here also for me, the opening of the chest using the cushion, the rolled up, the cushion, the bolster, and it could be several couch cushions or whatever. I've tried it with everything. Anything works. But the bolster, I love the thin bolster or the rolled up cotton blanket that just goes right down between the shoulder blades and opens up the shoulder blades. So you might just consider whether this is one of those postures that your body just loves and you want to get set up for it. You don't have to use the blocks. The gravity will take your legs wherever you let go. Or you can use little cushions again underneath your knees. And breathe the opening into your soul. Go to that soul star chakra. Take that understanding of above us in the new 12, the new work of the 12 chakras. And you can go to the colors. The blue, the yellow, the pink, the white, the green, the ruby, the violet at the 7th chakra. So we still have the first 7, and you come to violet at the 7th chakra, but it starts with a blue color, and then to a yellow color, and then to a pink. And the yellow and pink together kind of are that peachy, orangey color. And then we come to a white, which is ascension and purity and hope. And then to the green, illuminated truth and vision. And then to the ruby, devotion, divine grace. But that violet color is that freedom, transformation, liberty, victory, transmutation, magic, forgiveness, all of that in the violet color of the 7th chakra. That takes us to the aquamarine, the magenta, the gold, the peach, and the opal. So as you are opening to this understanding, imagine that you have all these bright colors that are guiding you, and they each have a quality that you're embodying. And all of the seven chakras of the old system, they had that too. And it was just more straightforward, earth-based. Earth, water, fire, air, and then from the throat up, the truth at your throat, then the ethereal, then that deep dark indigo blue, and then the violet, which was the opening to the unknown, the transformation. So just think, as we're transforming the planet, transforming humanity at this time of change, you could have because of we're working from the 1970s in our age group, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. You know, we are working with this incredible change in every decade. And this change has always been a change of expansion of some sort for human consciousness. We now know and understand the consciousness better than we have in all those other eras and all those other decades. So bring this new information to light. Bring it into light, in through your consciousness, saying, I am light. And I embody all these different colors and all the qualities that they bring. If you look at the spectrum in its expanded way of how the colors merge together, you're going to see all of these colors. The spectrum can be looked at through different lenses. So you can see the primary colors, or you can see the non-primary colors, the other colors that are in between. And we're asked at this point to see the in-between, to know the between. You know, what does between mean? And what is in between? What is the space between? What is the space? What takes up space and what's between that space? And all of those kind of invisible concepts are what we're opening to now. Then bringing our hands together at our heart, may we have peace, and may what we do here go out into the world and make more peace. Peace, shalom, salam, pak shanti, pache mir, malahia, frieden, hung sang. Oh, those are as many words for peace as I've learned so far. Oh, and then letting that peace flood your body as though the peace is already here in all of these cultures, in all of humanity. It's already here. And then release the posture that you're in, whatever it is. I like to come to Shavasana for a moment and feel the release of all of that. Take a breath or two. And you can stay here as long as you want. I'm going to come up just because of my responsibility as a teacher. Over to my side, feels great. Up into mermaid position. I have to let my body kind of settle. My upper body has to come back to feeling gravity in this way. And then onto my hands and knees to then bring my left foot forward to come up into both sides. Many blessings and love. Thank you for being here.